chosen one. Listen carefully. Heaven has pressed pause on every distraction just to reach you now. You are not stumbling upon these words by chance. No algorithm, no accident, no random moment. This is divine appointment. The Spirit of God has marked you, set you apart, and whispered your name long before you even knew to listen. You were never designed to blend in with the crowd. You were never called to move unnoticed. You were chosen, consecrated, and called to carry a destiny that shakes the very foundations of darkness. You have felt it before, haven't you? That tug in your spirit that makes you restless in ordinary places. The way your heart stirs when others settle for less. The way you've been misunderstood, even by those closest to you. Because they cannot comprehend the weight you carry. They cannot perceive the hand of God resting upon your life. And tonight, as these words find you, heaven's voice rises above the noise to awaken your soul. Stop running. Stop doubting. Stop scrolling. Your future is being revealed. And it begins here. You were never meant to move through life unnoticed. Your light was designed to terrify the darkness. That is why the battles have been so intense. That is why the storms around you have tried to drown your fire. You have walked through nights where the tears burned hotter than flames. And still, you rose again. You questioned why you had to endure what others seemed to escape. The answer is simple. You are chosen. The mantle upon your life demanded the sharpening of your spirit, demanded the breaking of your pride, demanded the crushing that produces holy oil. The enemy has studied you. He has tried to silence you. He has sent distraction after distraction, betrayal after betrayal, to convince you that you are ordinary, but you cannot remain hidden forever. The fire inside you cannot be buried beneath fear or shame. Heaven has sounded the trumpet, and your name is being announced in the courts of destiny. This is your moment of awakening. This is the hour where you rise from slumber and step boldly into what was written for you before the foundations of the world. As was spoken in the sacred texts of old. Ephesians, chapter 5, verse 14. Awake, sleeper, and arise from the dead, and Christ will shine on you. These words are not ancient history. They are prophecy breathing over your life right now. They echo into your very spirit, commanding the chains of apathy to fall, summoning your courage to rise. No more delay, no more compromise, no more shrinking back when you were designed to stand tall. Chosen one, your future is not a mystery to heaven. It has already been written in glory. What feels uncertain to you is crystal clear to God. Every valley you crossed, every heartbreak you endured, every unanswered prayer, all of it was training. Nothing was wasted. The storms only revealed how unshakable your roots truly are. The silence only taught you how to hear his whisper above the roar. The loneliness only made you dangerous, because now you know that his presence alone is enough. But hear me clearly, you cannot afford to delay any longer. Mercy waits, but mercy does not wait forever. This word reaches you like a final trumpet blast to awaken your heart. The door is opening before you, but it will not remain open indefinitely. You must step through in faith. You must claim what has already been promised. You must believe that the God who called you is also the God who equips you. You are standing at a threshold where the future bends. On one side lies the comfort of staying the same. On the other side burns the fire of transformation. Heaven leans in to see what you will choose. Do not waver. Do not hesitate. This is not coincidence. This is divine intervention. So now, beloved chosen one, lift your head. Let the weight of shame fall off your shoulders. Let the doubts collapse like walls of Jericho before your faith. Let every voice that told you you are not enough be silenced under the roar of truth. You are chosen. You are called. You are destined. If these words pierce your spirit, then do not remain silent. Align yourself with heaven's call. Show the boldness of your faith and declare it publicly. Right now, as a prophetic act, comment the number 777 below. This is not just a number, it is a signal to heaven that you are awake, alert, and ready for what is about to be revealed. Chosen one, the future that God reveals to you cannot be fully embraced until you confront the hidden wounds you carry. You know those places, the ones you cover with a smile when others are near. The scars you never mention because words would make them too real. You have endured rejection that pierced deeper than the flesh. Betrayal from those who should have guarded your heart. And silence from heaven in the moments you needed answers most. These wounds have followed you like shadows, whispering that you are forgotten, whispering that you are unworthy, whispering that maybe the calling was never real. Yet, what the enemy has used to break you, heaven has permitted to shape you. Those very wounds are not signs of abandonment, but evidence of preparation. Without them, you would not carry the compassion that moves you now. Without them, you would not have the eyes to recognize pain in others. Without them, your authority over darkness would lack the weight of experience. You see, the ones chosen to carry light are often led through deep valleys first. This is not cruelty, it is consecration. For what flows from you is not shallow encouragement, but rivers formed in the caverns of your soul. You can stand where others collapse because you have already endured storms that would have destroyed them. You can pray with fire because you have walked through the flame and did not die. Think back to the moments where you wept in silence, wondering if anyone saw. Think back to the prayers that seemed unanswered, the seasons where the heavens felt sealed. Every tear was collected, every groan was heard, every cry became seed in the ground. And now, those seeds are about to break open into harvest. The writings of David in the Psalms remind us. Psalm chapter 147, verse 3. He heals the brokenhearted and binds up their wounds. This is not only a promise, it is a declaration over your life. The very places that ache the most are the places God Himself bends down to touch. The parts of you that feel too shattered to ever be whole again will become the testimony of His healing hand. Your wounds do not disqualify you. Chosen one, they mark you. They mark you as one who has carried more than most, as one who has been refined in the furnace of affliction. When others look at your scars and see weakness, heaven looks and sees evidence of strength. When the world labels you as broken, heaven calls you battle-tested. And yet, you must be careful. Hidden wounds, if left unhealed, can poison destiny. They can turn into bitterness, unforgiveness, or a constant hunger for validation. These are traps, subtle snares, set to drain your energy and dim your light. But you are not called to live bleeding. You are called to live healed, to rise from the ashes with fire in your eyes and a new song on your lips. Healing is not forgetting. Healing is not pretending it never happened. Healing is the courage to look at the wound and say, "This no longer owns me. This no longer defines me. This no longer chains me." Healing is surrendering even the deepest pain into the hands of the one who can weave it into glory. Beloved, there is power in your story. There is authority in your scars. You have survived things that others could not. You have walked through nights that nearly swallowed you whole. And here you are, still breathing, still standing, still carrying a flame the enemy could not snuff out. Do not despise your story. Do not hide your scars. They are proof that light always wins. God will use the very wounds the enemy inflicted as weapons in your hand. The rejection you suffered will birth radical love. The betrayal you endured will give you discernment. The loneliness you felt will sharpen your awareness of His presence. Nothing is wasted. Every pain will be recycled into power. Every scar will become a key that unlocks doors for others. Chosen one. Let this truth sink deep. You are not weak because you are wounded. You are stronger because you survived. The wounds you carry are not chains holding you back. They are reminders that you cannot be broken beyond repair. Heaven has already written restoration into your future. Healing is not coming, it has already begun. So breathe. Release the weight you have been carrying. Lay down the shame of the past. Step out from behind the mask you thought you needed to wear. You are loved as you are. Scars and all. You are seen even in the secret places. And the God who saw you in the valley is the same God who is lifting you to the mountain. Your hidden wounds are being transformed, even now, into weapons of testimony. Soon you will stand not as one bleeding, but as one blazing. The world will see the light in your eyes and not know the battles you fought to carry it. But heaven knows. And heaven calls you victorious. Chosen one. There came a moment when silence could no longer hold you. You remember it not just with your mind, but with your spirit. It was that night, or perhaps that morning, when the weight of waiting pressed too heavily on your chest. The numbness broke. The dam gave way. And something holy interrupted. The silence you had carried for far too long. That was not weakness. That was not coincidence. That was the divine call breaking through the walls you had built. The truth is, you were never designed to remain muted. You were created to echo heaven's sound on earth. For too long, fear kept your mouth shut. For too long, rejection convinced you that your voice was not needed. For too long, shame whispered that your prayers fell to the floor unheard. Yet heaven was listening. Heaven was waiting for the moment you would realize that your silence was never your identity. When the call came, it did not ask for your perfection. It did not ask for your resume. It did not ask for the approval of those who never saw your worth. It only asked for your yes. And the moment you whispered that yes, even if it was trembling, the atmosphere around you shifted. Angels marked it. Demons noticed it. Heaven recorded it. The silence was broken, and destiny began to roar. As Jesus himself declared in the Gospel of John, chapter 10, verse 27, "My sheep listen to my voice, I know them, and they follow me." But now comes the test. Will you keep following when the path grows narrow? Will you obey when obedience costs you reputation, comfort, or control? The call does not end. When silence is broken, it begins. And that beginning demands courage. Chosen one. The call over your life is not fragile. It is thunder wrapped in tenderness, fire wrapped in mercy, That is why you have felt torn between two worlds, the one that demands you stay silent and safe, and the one that dares you to rise, to risk, to speak. Heaven has placed a trumpet in your hands. You cannot hold it and remain mute. You cannot bear the mantle of a voice and still choose silence. But here is the good news. You do not walk this road alone. Every chosen one who answered the call walked through fear first. Abraham left the familiar. Moses stood stammering before Pharaoh. Jeremiah wept as he carried the weight of prophecy. Each one faced trembling, but each one found that obedience unlocked power. Your trembling yes carries more weight in heaven than 1,000 polished speeches. Do not despise the small beginnings. That first step, that whispered prayer, that moment you dared to speak when silence felt safer. Heaven treasures it. For the silence you broke is the very sound that will shake chains off others. You are not only called for your own deliverance, you are called to carry deliverance for many. And now, chosen one, I invite you to respond not with hesitation, but with boldness. Write these words. Speak, Lord. Just 2 words. Yet they hold the posture of Samuel, the posture of every servant who dares to open their ears fully. When you type it, you are not performing for people. You are declaring to heaven that your spirit is alert, that you are done with silence, that you are ready to listen and obey. Do not underestimate this act. Simple words carry prophetic weight when spoken in alignment with God's call. Speak, Lord, is not merely a phrase. It is surrender. It is you saying, I will no longer drown out your whisper with my distractions. I will no longer silence myself because of fear. I will tune my soul like an instrument until your voice is the melody I follow. And understand this, when you say, speak, Lord, you are opening yourself to instructions that may stretch you. The command might pull you out of your comfort zone. It might demand you forgive someone you swore you never would. It might ask you to step into assignments that make no sense on paper. But with every instruction comes empowerment. Heaven never commands without also supplying. Chosen one. The silence is gone. The call has been spoken. The only question left is whether you will answer with more than a whisper. This is your moment of alignment. This is the place where obedience becomes your shield, where surrender becomes your weapon. Do not retreat back into the shadows of silence. Step forward, voice strong, heart ready. Heaven waits to see your response. Creation leans in. The earth itself groans for the sons and daughters of God to arise. And here you are, one who has heard the voice, one who has felt the call, one who cannot go back to being muted. Break the silence fully. Declare with your life what you have already declared with your spirit. You are chosen. You are called. And you will not be silenced again. Chosen one. Pause for a moment and sense the weight of where you stand. Life has brought you to a threshold that is not merely about circumstances, it is about eternity. The voice of God has been whispering to you in patterns, in signs, in sudden bursts of conviction. And now the message grows louder. Mercy still surrounds you. But mercy will not pause forever. You are standing in a narrowing window of divine patience. Every delay, every postponement, every excuse risks closing a door that was meant to remain open only for a season. Think of mercy as a hand stretched out to catch you. It does not force you. It does not drag you. It does not bind you. It simply waits. Extended, trembling with love. But if you ignore it long enough, if you turn away too often, that hand begins to withdraw. Not because God delights in judgment, no. His heart aches with mercy, but because choices bear fruit, and the soil of rebellion cannot yield the harvest of grace. There have been moments when you felt conviction, like a burning coal pressed against your heart, times when your conscience stirred, when a sermon pierced deeper than you admitted, when a scripture rose uninvited in your thoughts, as if whispered directly into your soul. Those were not coincidences. Those were heaven's alarms ringing over your spirit. The fact that you are reading these words right now proves that mercy still lingers, still pauses, still pleads. But hear me clearly, mercy is not endless in its invitation. There comes a point when rejection becomes a cage, when repeated rebellion blinds the eyes, when the heart hardens until even fire cannot melt it. You do not want to reach that point. Beloved, you do not want to gamble with grace as though it were infinite credit. Grace is costly. It was bought with blood, purchased at Calvary, and it demands reverence. The Spirit spoke through the prophet Isaiah. Isaiah, chapter 55, verse 6. Seek the Lord while he may be found, call on him while he is near. Consider the parable of the 10 virgins, 5 wise, 5 foolish. All carried lamps, but not all carried oil. When the bridegroom arrived, the foolish ones scrambled, too late, and found the door shut. They had the appearance of readiness, but not the substance. They carried the title but lacked the preparation. Chosen one, do not let your story echo theirs. Do not carry a lamp without oil. Do not approach the threshold without readiness. This is why heaven warns you now. Your decisions in this hour matter. Your obedience in this moment shapes what unfolds tomorrow. Mercy still surrounds you, but it will not chase you forever. God is not mocked what you sow. You will reap. Sow apathy. Reap emptiness. Sow rebellion. Reap chains. Sow surrender. Reap life abundant. The harvest is already hidden within the seed. I know there have been distractions, heavy burdens, even betrayals that tried to numb you. But these are not excuses. They are the very reasons you must be vigilant. For the enemy's greatest tactic is not always outright destruction. Often, it is subtle delay. If he cannot kill your destiny, he will convince you to postpone it. If he cannot silence your voice, he will persuade you to wait until tomorrow to use it. But tomorrow is not promised. The only day you are guaranteed is today. And mercy demands response now. Do not mistake God's patience for permission. Just because lightning has not struck, just because judgment has not fallen, does not mean heaven approves of delay. Patience is not a license to wander. It is an invitation to return. Mercy is not weakness. It is strength restrained for your sake. And if you ignore it long enough, what once felt like conviction will fade into silence. That silence is the most terrifying judgment of all. Chosen one, I am not here to frighten you, but to awaken you. There is still time. The door is still open. The hand is still stretched out. The voice still calls your name. What you do with this window matters more than you know. Do not waste it. Do not bury it. Do not trade eternal glory for temporary comfort. When mercy pauses, it is a holy pause. It is the inhale before a trumpet blast, the stillness before a storm breaks, the waiting of a bridegroom who delays because he longs for more to enter the banquet. That pause is sacred, but it is also fragile. Treat it with the reverence it deserves. Beloved chosen one, the future God promises is real, but it cannot be seized with divided allegiance. This is your moment to choose. Cling to delay, or step into destiny. Ignore the hand, or take hold of it. Hide in silence, or cry out while he is near. Heaven leans close to hear your decision. Do not be found unready when the pause ends. Chosen one, imagine yourself standing before an altar, not one built with stone or wood, but an altar within your spirit. On it rests the fragments of your life, your victories and failures, your laughter and tears, your strength and your weakness. Heaven calls you now to see what you already carry, because within your hands lie weapons far more powerful than you realize. These are not swords of steel or shields of bronze, but weapons forged in the fire of faith, sharpened by endurance, and sanctified by prayer. You see, every chosen one is entrusted with both an altar and a weapon. The altar is where you lay down what is too heavy to carry. It is where pride burns, where fear is consumed, where self-reliance melts into surrender. And the weapons? They are not handed to you in a moment of ease, but drawn out of the battles you have survived. Your perseverance became a blade. Your prayers became arrows. Your worship became a shield. You thought you were just surviving, but in truth, you were being armed. The apostle reminds us in his letter to the Corinthians, 2 Corinthians, chapter 10, verse 4. For the weapons of our warfare are not of the flesh, but have divine power to destroy strongholds. Yet, beloved, every warrior knows that weapons unused will gather dust, and altars unattended will grow cold. This is why your engagement matters. Just as a soldier sharpens his blade and a priest tends the fire, you too must actively keep the flame alive. When you share the word, you are sharpening your weapon for someone else who cannot yet fight. When you subscribe, you are returning again and again to tend the altar, ensuring the fire does not die. When you sow, whether through prayer, through service, or even through donation, you are placing wood upon the altar, making sure the flame rises higher and brighter for the battles ahead. Think of a lamp in the dark. A single flame glows, but when another draws close and lights their candle from it, the room brightens. The flame you guard does not diminish. When shared, it multiplies. In the same way, when you like, when you share, when you support, you are not simply performing small actions on a screen. You are carrying the flame into someone else's night. You may never see their face, but heaven does, and the ripple of that light will echo into eternity. Beloved, chosen one, your altar and your weapon are not meant for you alone. They are entrusted to you for the sake of others who still wander in shadows. Some will never step into their calling until they hear the sound of your testimony. Some will never recognize their weapon until they see you raise yours. This is why your engagement here is not trivial, it is prophetic. You are fueling a fire that will reach further than your eyes can see. Perhaps you feel small. Perhaps you think, what difference can one like? One share, one seed make. But remember, a single stone in David's sling brought down a giant. A single shout from Joshua's army toppled walls. A single meal offered by a boy fed thousands when placed in the master's hands. Your small act, surrendered to God, is multiplied into victory. I speak this not to pressure you, but to invite you, just as an altar is not built in haste. Your engagement must be born of love. When you subscribe, you are choosing to return to the well again and again, drinking deeply from waters that strengthen your spirit. When you share, you are becoming a herald, carrying the message beyond your walls into places you may never walk. When you donate, you are laying treasure upon the altar, not as loss, but as seed that heaven will water, seed that will rise into a harvest far exceeding what you gave. Your altar matters, your weapons matter, and your choice to tend them will determine how brightly your light burns in this generation. Beloved, hear this clearly. Your life is not background noise in heaven's story. You are a keynote in the divine symphony. When you raise your weapon, when you guard your altar, the melody of your obedience weaves with countless others, forming a chorus that terrifies darkness, and heaven leans in to listen. So, take this to heart. Tend your flame. Sharpen your weapon. Place your offering upon the altar, not only your prayers, not only your worship, but your commitment, your presence, your yes. For when the chosen ones rise together, darkness does not stand a chance. Chosen one. Let us speak of something far more dangerous than open rebellion. It is not always sin that steals destinies. Often, it is something quieter, more receptive, and far more common: delay. The poison of delay seeps into the soul without warning. It convinces you there is still time, that tomorrow is guaranteed, that you can wait until the conditions are perfect before you move. But delay is a thief. It steals moments that were meant to be decisive. It robs you of momentum. It leaves you standing at the edge of promise, watching the years slip away, while you whisper, later. No, you have felt this poison before. You heard the call, but you hesitated. You sensed the stirring, but you postponed. You knew what was required, but you delayed, waiting for courage to arrive instead of stepping forward in trembling faith. And each time you delayed, the fire dimmed just a little. Delay does not silence you in a single strike. It lulls you into quiet apathy, drip by drip, until you barely notice how much time has slipped away. The ancient wisdom of Proverbs cuts through this lie with piercing clarity. According to what is revealed in the book of Proverbs, chapter 27, verse 1, do not boast about tomorrow, for you do not know what a day may bring. These words were not written as poetry, they are warnings written in fire. Tomorrow is not promised. The window of opportunity that feels wide today can slam shut by morning. The person you were meant to encourage may not be there tomorrow. The door you were meant to walk through may not remain open. Delay gambles with things you were never meant to risk. Chosen one. Delay is not neutral. It is rebellion disguised as patience. Heaven calls it what it is: disobedience cloaked in excuses. And though God is merciful, mercy does not erase consequences. Seeds of delay cannot produce a harvest of destiny. If you keep postponing the act of surrender, the moment of obedience, the cry of worship, you will look back one day and realize the season has passed. But here is the hope. The very fact that you are hearing these words means that it is not too late. You are not abandoned. The clock still ticks, but the hands have not struck midnight. Heaven has sent this message as both warning and rescue. You can still break free from delay's poison. You can still redeem the time. You can still rise today and declare, no more waiting, no more excuses, no more postponement. I choose obedience now. Lo, think of the farmer who refuses to plant because he fears the clouds. He waits for the perfect weather, the perfect season, the perfect sign. But while he waits, the earth remains barren. By the time he realizes the season has shifted, it is too late to sow. His delay costs him the harvest. Beloved, you must not repeat his mistake. The ground of your destiny is waiting. The seeds are in your hand, but unless you act, there will be no harvest. Delay whispers comfort, but it costs more than comfort. It costs opportunity, anointing, souls, generations. You are chosen to rise, not to linger. You are chosen to move, not to stall. Heaven is urging you to cut the cords of hesitation and step forward now. Chosen one, I want you to mark this moment, not just in your thoughts, but with a prophetic act. Type these 3 digits, 444. Do not underestimate it. This is not superstition, it is alignment. By writing 444, you are declaring, I will not wait for tomorrow. I step into obedience now. I will not be chained by delay. I will be established in God's timing. The number is your public breaking of hesitation, your declaration that the poison will not control you any longer. Every time you act in faith, even in something as small as this, you strike at delay's grip. You prove that your obedience does not bow to comfort. You demonstrate that your destiny matters more than excuses. You show heaven you are awake, alive, and ready to move forward. And hear me well, when you resist delay, you accelerate destiny. What would have taken years can be shortened to months. What would have taken months can be shortened to days. God redeems lost time for those who dare to act. The locusts devoured seasons of your life. But when you obey without hesitation, restoration rushes in like a flood. So do not let delay whisper its lies into your ear any longer. Do not let procrastination disguise itself as wisdom. Do not let hesitation rob you of your crown. This is the hour to move, to act, to obey. Heaven's clock is ticking, but your response can change its rhythm. Beloved, the poison of delay is broken over your life today. Walk forward, plant your seed, raise your voice. Step into your calling without fear. The moment is now, and heaven waits to see your obedience. Chosen one, within you rests a treasure that the world has not yet fully seen. It is not a talent you discovered by chance, nor a skill you learned merely from experience. It is a gift placed in you before you took your first breath. Heaven deposited it, wrapped it in mystery, and allowed your life's journey, the joy and the pain, to shape it into something powerful. Now, the time has come for the first unveiling. The unveiling of your gift does not arrive with fanfare. It comes like a seed breaking through soil, small yet unstoppable. For years, you may have doubted that anything unique lay within you. Others may have dismissed you, labeling you as ordinary, telling you to stay quiet, to fit in, to live as everyone else lives. Yet you felt it on inner stirring, a sense that you were carrying something not meant to remain hidden. That stirring is your gift, whispering to be released. The Apostle Paul understood this mystery. We find in the second letter to Timothy, Chapter 1, verse 6. Fan into flame the gift of God, which is in you. This is your call. Beloved, your gift is not meant to stay dormant, buried under fear, or trapped by hesitation, like an ember glowing in ashes. It must be fanned into fire. That fire is not for your glory, it is for the light of others who sit in darkness, waiting for someone like you to shine. Think of the gifts given to those who came before you. Moses carried a staff, simple wood. Yet in God's hand, it became a weapon against Pharaoh's oppression. David carried a sling, small and insignificant. Yet, in God's hand, it toppled giants. Esther carried beauty and courage, invisible weapons that shifted the course of nations. None of these gifts looked powerful at first glance. Each seemed ordinary until they were unveiled at the appointed moment. Your gift, too, may look small now, but heaven knows the power it holds when placed in God's hands. The unveiling begins not with recognition from others, but with obedience from you. It begins when you choose to act in faith, even if your steps tremble. It begins when you stop waiting for the perfect stage, the perfect resources, the perfect approval. Your gift is not waiting for perfection, it is waiting for surrender. God will multiply what you place in His hands, but He cannot multiply what you bury in the ground. Beloved, your gift is the answer to someone's prayer. It is the healing to someone's wound, the encouragement to someone's despair, the guidance to someone's confusion. When you silence it, the world grows darker. When you unveil it, heaven shines brighter. This is why the enemy has fought you so fiercely, not because you are weak, but because he fears what you carry. If your gift were meaningless, you would not have faced such resistance. The very battles you fought prove the weight of what lies inside you. Do not despise the process that has shaped your gift. The pain was not wasted. Every betrayal sharpened your discernment. Every delay stretched your endurance. Every hidden season developed your roots, so that when the unveiling came, you would not collapse under the weight of visibility. The preparation was not punishment, it was construction. Heaven was building a foundation strong enough to hold the glory of your gift. And now, beloved, the unveiling begins. You may not see the full picture yet, but the first steps are already stirring. Pay attention to the small nudges, the quiet instructions, the opportunities that seem insignificant. A word spoken in season, a hand extended in kindness, a prayer whispered for a stranger. These are not random acts. They are the first sparks of your gift breaking into the open. Fan them into flame. Do not ignore them. Do not dismiss them as too small. Every flame begins with a spark. Chosen one. Imagine your gift as a key. For years, it has rested in your pocket, unnoticed. But now you stand before a locked door, the entrance to your next season. No one else's key will fit. No one else's gift will unlock it. Only the gift entrusted to you can open this door. Do not let it rust unused. Place it in the lock. Turn it. Step through. You are not ordinary. You are not overlooked. You are entrusted. Heaven has unveiled your gift, not to inflate your pride, but to empower your purpose. You are chosen to carry something this world desperately needs. And your obedience is the bridge between what is hidden and what will be revealed. Lift your eyes. Beloved, do not compare your gift to another's. Do not belittle it because it looks different. Each chosen one carries a unique flame, and together they form a fire that darkness cannot withstand. Your flame matters, your gift matters, and the unveiling begins now. Chosen one. Every journey of destiny faces opposition. It does not always come in the form of open enemies or visible threats. More often, it hides in subtler places, in whispers, in systems, in patterns that repeat through generations. The moment your gift begins to emerge, the forces that fear it begin to stir. That is why you have felt resistance, not just from strangers, but sometimes from those closest to you. Opposition is rarely random. It is targeted, and it seeks to suffocate what heaven has planted. The Apostle Paul unveiled this reality when he wrote to the early believers. In his words we find a warning and a strategy, as it is written in the second letter to the Corinthians, chapter 2, verse 11. For we are not unaware of his schemes. You are called not only to carry light, but also to recognize the tactics of darkness. To be chosen is to be trained in discernment. The battle is not always fought with swords. Often, it is fought with sightseeing through the disguise of the enemy's schemes. Consider the different faces opposition takes. Sometimes it is external structures of injustice, systems designed to silence truth, voices that mock or belittle your obedience. Other times it is internal, the whisper that says, "You are not enough." The shadow of comparison, the heaviness of fear, and still other times it is generational patterns of addiction, cycles of poverty, wounds passed down like inheritance. Each scheme is tailored to your story, but none of them are greater than the one who called you. Beloved, do not underestimate the subtlety of these tactics. The enemy rarely comes as a roaring beast at first. More often, he comes as a whisper of compromise. He suggests delay when obedience is required. He offers comfort when courage is needed. He presents distraction when focus is demanded. And if you do not discern, you may mistake opposition for ordinary life. That is why you must remain awake, alert, watchful. Yet understand this: opposition is also confirmation. It proves that what you carry is valuable. No thief breaks into an empty house. No army attacks a barren land. If you have felt targeted, it is because you are carrying treasure. If the resistance has been heavy, it is because the calling on your life is weighty. Do not see opposition as evidence that you are failing. See it as proof that you are marked. But you are not left defenseless. Heaven has equipped you with strategies. First, the strategy of truth. Lies lose power when exposed to the light of God's word. When fear whispers, truth shouts louder. When shame accuses, gratia declares, freedom. Second, the strategy of prayer. Prayer is not empty words, it is warfare. A weapon that dismantles strongholds unseen. When you pray, you align with heaven's will, and the schemes of the enemy unravel. Third, the strategy of community. Isolation weakens, but unity strengthens. One flame can be smothered, but a fire of many cannot be contained. Think of Nehemiah rebuilding the walls of Jerusalem. Opposition rose from every side: mockery, threats, sabotage. Yet the workers held both tools and weapons, one hand building, the other defending. This is your posture too. Chosen one. You must build and battle at the same time. Build the vision God has given you, but never lay down your weapons of prayer, worship, and discernment. Do not be surprised when opposition comes from unexpected places. Joseph was opposed by his own brothers. David was hunted by the king he once served. Jesus himself was betrayed by a disciple who walked beside him. Betrayal and resistance from the familiar cut deepest, but they also sharpen your discernment. They teach you to lean on God above all others, to seek His approval above the applause or rejection of people. Remember this, the enemy has no new tricks, only recycled ones. The same lies he whispered in Eden are the ones he whispers now. Did God really say? His schemes are ancient, but they are not unstoppable. The one who lives in you has already crushed the serpent's head. You fight not for victory, but from victory already secured. Chosen one. Lift your eyes. Opposition does not mean abandonment. Resistance does not mean weakness. It means you are on the right path, carrying the right fire, speaking the right words. Let discernment be your shield and truth your sword. Recognize the schemes, dismantle them, and keep moving forward. For every strategy of darkness, heaven has already written a greater strategy of light. You are chosen not only to survive opposition, but to expose it. Your life will become a testimony that no scheme can prevail against a surrendered soul. And as you keep walking, the very opposition meant to break you will become the stepping stones that lift you higher. Chosen one. Every vessel of destiny must pass through the fire of testing. This is not punishment, it is purification. Gold is not trusted until it endures the furnace. Oil is not poured until the olive is crushed. Wine is not released until the grape is pressed. You too must face the moment when your faith is tried, when your resolve is measured, when your commitment is tested, not in words, but in endurance. These tests often come disguised as circumstances that press you to the edge. They are the nights when prayers seem unanswered, when silence fills the heavens, when betrayal wounds your spirit, when your obedience costs more than you thought you could give. In those moments, everything inside you will want to retreat, to complain, to surrender. But hear me clearly. What you feel as breaking is often the shaping of your crown. We are reminded through the writings of James. James, chapter 1, verse 3. The testing of your faith produces perseverance. These words were not meant to comfort casually. They are a revelation. Faith that is not tested cannot endure storms. Perseverance is not born in ease. It is forged in fire. The tests you face are not designed to destroy you, but to reveal the strength hidden within you. To strength even you did not know you had. Consider Abraham, asked to place his promised son on the altar. Consider Job, stripped of everything, yet refusing to curse his God. Consider Peter, tested by denial, yet restored into purpose. Each faced trials that cut to the core, yet each emerged, purified, refined, unshakable. Your test is not proof that God has abandoned you, it is proof that He trusts you with weight. He does not test what He does not intend to elevate. Beloved, testing seasons are lonely. They strip away applause, silence, affirmation, and often expose who truly stands with you. This is not cruelty, it is clarity. The test reveals which voices matter and which never did. It teaches you to anchor yourself in God's presence when every other anchor slips. It shifts your dependence from people to the one who never fails. But here is the danger. In the midst of testing, the enemy will whisper lies. He will tell you that the fire is punishment, that the silence is rejection, that the loss is proof of failure. These are not truths. They are schemes meant to weaken your resolve. Remember, the presence of testing does not mean the absence of God. In fact, He often draws closest when you feel Him least. He is the refiner at the furnace, His hand steady on the temperature, never allowing the fire to consume you, only to cleanse you. Chosen one, if you are in the midst of testing now, take courage. The very pressure that makes you weep will one day make you roar. The very fire that feels unbearable will one day become the light in your eyes. You are not being destroyed. You are being defined. Your crown is being shaped in the heat of this moment. And now, I want you to mark this truth in a prophetic way. Write these words, "I stand firm." Just 3 words. But they are defiance against despair. They are a declaration that you will not collapse under the weight of testing. They are a reminder to your soul that perseverance is already rising within you. By typing them, you align yourself with the truth that the test will not break you, it will build you. Think of a tree in storm winds. Its branches thrash, its leaves scatter, but its roots sink deeper into the soil. After the storm passes, the tree is not weaker, but stronger, able to withstand even greater winds. This is you, chosen one. The storm is teaching your roots to grip deeper into the presence of God. The test is deepening your foundation so that you can carry the glory that is coming. Do not despise the season of testing. Do not curse it, wishing it away. Instead, embrace it as the holy process that precedes promotion. Every crown rests upon a head that first bowed low in testing. Every victory rests upon a warrior who first endured the trial of fire. This is your moment of refining, your passage through the furnace that will leave you shining like gold. Beloved, when the fire seems too hot, remember this: you are not alone in the furnace. Just as the 4th man walked with Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, so too does the Lord walk with you now. You may feel the heat, but you will not be consumed. You may feel the weight, but you will not collapse. You may feel the sting, but you will not be destroyed. The test is temporary, the crown is eternal. So stand firm, hold fast. Let perseverance finish its work. When this test passes, you will not only survive, you will emerge carrying authority, wisdom, and strength that no one can take away. And the crown that is being shaped now will one day rest upon your head as proof that you endured. Chosen one. Destiny does not always come in the ways you expect. Sometimes, the doors you wait for remain shut, while another door, one you never imagined, swings wide open. This is the nature of the journey with God. He is the master of surprise, the architect of unexpected paths. What you thought was the end is often just a bend. What you assumed was rejection is often redirection. And what looks like detour is often the very highway into purpose. You see, the unexpected door rarely looks glamorous. It might not come decorated with signs and trumpets. Sometimes, it looks ordinary, an invitation, a connection, a whisper, a simple opportunity. Yet within it lies a shift so great that your whole trajectory changes. The challenge is not whether God will open the door, but whether you will recognize it when it appears. The Spirit spoke to the churches long ago. In the book of Revelation, chapter 3, verse 8, it is written, See, I have placed before you an open door that no one can shut. This promise is alive for you today. The doors of man may lock. The systems of the world may reject you. But when God Himself swings open a door, no force in hell can close it. Think of Joseph, sold into slavery, falsely accused, thrown into prison. Each closed door seemed final, yet one unexpected door, a call from Pharaoh's court, transformed him overnight from prisoner to ruler. Think of Ruth, a foreign widow gleaning in fields. The door of despair seemed permanent until an unexpected encounter led her to the lineage of kings. The same God who opened their doors is the one who opens yours. But hear this carefully. When you walk through an unexpected door, it will often require courage, humility, and trust. It may not look like the door you prayed for. It may demand you leave behind what feels safe. It may call you into unfamiliar territory where faith is your only map. Yet, it is in that risk that your future unfolds. Beloved, when such a door opens, you cannot hesitate. Imagine a train pulling into a station. The doors slide open, but only for a moment. If you linger, if you wait too long, the doors close and the train moves on. Opportunities from heaven are similar. They are holy windows meant to be seized in faith, not studied in fear. And this is why community matters. When you like, when you share, when you subscribe, when you even sow a seed into this altar, you are not simply performing digital actions. You are strengthening the signals of these doors. You are keeping the light burning so others can see their openings too. Think of it like torches in the dark. Your simple acts become flames that illuminate the way for others. And when you donate, it is like laying stones on a bridge that carries more souls across. Perhaps you have wondered, does my support really matter? Does my little action make a difference? Yes. Chosen one, it does. Your engagement is not noise, it is nurture. Every share is like scattering seed on fresh ground. Every like is like watering a field. Every subscription is like returning again and again to a well where living water flows. And when you sow financially, it is like placing wood upon the altar. You make sure the flame does not go out. These unexpected doors do not open only for you. They open for countless others who will find hope, courage, and strength because you chose to keep the altar alive. Do not underestimate what your consistency births. The seed you plant today may become the harvest of another tomorrow. Beloved, picture a lighthouse on a stormy shore. Its keeper tends the flame daily, not because ships are always visible, but because ships may come at any moment. Your engagement, your sharing, your support, your giving is like tending that lighthouse. You may not see the faces, but heaven does. You may not know the names, but eternity records them. And when their ships arrive, the light you helped sustain will guide them safely to shore. So as you walk toward your unexpected door, do not do it alone. Keep your weapons ready, your altar burning, and your community strong. Tend the flame, nurture the soil, keep the bridge open. For the doors ahead are not just for you, they are for all who will walk after you. Chosen one, prepare your heart. The unexpected door is near, and when it opens, step boldly. Heaven's hand has already turned the key. No force can shut it. No enemy can block it. And once you walk through, you will realize that every closed door before was only preparing you for the one that matters most. Chosen one. The path of destiny is paved not only with victories but with sacrifice. Every step of obedience demands a price. And though the cost may seem high, the return is eternal. Too often we imagine that obedience will feel easy, that saying yes to God will open roads of comfort and applause. Yet the truth is different. True obedience cuts deep. It pulls you from familiar ground, challenges your pride, strips away what you thought you needed, and asks you to place even your most precious treasures on the altar. The prophet Samuel once confronted Saul with this eternal truth, as it is written in the first book of Samuel, chapter 15, verse 22, "To obey is better than sacrifice." This single line holds a mystery. Obedience itself is the sacrifice God desires. It is not the outward offerings, the rituals, or the appearances of devotion that move his heart. It is the surrendered will, the yes that cost something real. Think of Abraham, walking up the mountain with Isaac at his side. Every step must have felt unbearable. Yet he kept moving. The test was never about Isaac, it was about Abraham's heart. Would he hold back, or would he trust? Obedience meant loosening his grip on what he loved most, believing that God's faithfulness was greater than his fear. That is the kind of obedience heaven seeks from you. Chosen one. Obedience often demands reputation. Noah built an ark under clear skies, mocked by neighbors who saw no rain. Jeremiah spoke words of warning, ridiculed by his own people. Mary accepted her calling, though it branded her with suspicion and scandal. Their yes cost them the approval of men, but it secured the favor of God. You too must decide. Will you cling to reputation, or will you cling to obedience? There is also the cost of comfort. The disciples left their nets, their homes, their families to follow a rabbi with no place to lay his head. Paul endured prison, beatings, hunger, and sleepless nights, yet declared it all joy for the sake of obedience. Comfort is never the soil of obedience. Discomfort is, for in discomfort, dependence grows. In discomfort, faith deepens. In discomfort, glory shines. And yes, sometimes obedience costs relationships. When light rises, darkness resists. When you choose righteousness, those who prefer compromise may distance themselves. It hurts. The ache of loss can feel unbearable. But hear this, obedience may separate you from some, but it always aligns you with heaven. And the companionship of God himself outweighs every earthly rejection. Chosen one. Obedience is not a one-time act, it is a lifestyle. It is the daily laying down of will, the constant choosing of God's way over your own. It may feel small at times, like forgiving when you want revenge, or speaking truth when silence feels safer. Yet these daily obediences are bricks in the road that leads to your destiny. Without them, the path cannot be built. But here lies the secret. What obedience costs in the moment cannot compare to what it produces in eternity. Abraham received nations. Noah preserved humanity. Mary carried salvation himself. The disciples turned the world upside down. Their sacrifices looked unbearable until heaven revealed the harvest. You too will one day see that every tear, every loss, every surrender was not wasted but multiplied. Perhaps you are standing before a choice right now. Perhaps God is asking you to release something you treasure, to step into something that frightens you, to speak when your voice trembles, to walk away when it breaks your heart. These are not random challenges. They are invitations into deeper obedience. And though the cost is real, the reward is beyond measure. Do not be deceived into thinking partial obedience is enough. Saul kept part of what he was commanded to destroy, excusing his actions with good intentions. Yet partial obedience was still rebellion. Heaven seeks not half your heart, but all of it. Obedience delayed is disobedience. Obedience partial is disobedience. Only the full surrender, the wholehearted yes, releases the fullness of destiny. Beloved, obedience will never be cheap, but the crown awaiting you will always outweigh the cost. Do not fear what you must give up. Fear missing what you were created to walk into. The treasures of this world fade, but the reward of obedience endures forever. Lift your heart today, even if obedience costs you comfort, reputation, or relationships. Remember, you are not losing, you are investing. Every yes, sown in tears, will one day be reaped in joy. Every surrender, whispered in private, will one day resound in glory. And the God who asked for your obedience will never fail to honor it. Chosen one, walk forward boldly, pay the price, carry the cross, surrender the treasure. For the path of obedience may be narrow, but it leads to life everlasting. Chosen one. Destiny is not vague. It is not a blur of random events stitched together by chance. God writes with precision. He lays out markers along the road, prophetic signposts to remind you that He has already walked ahead of you. When you begin to doubt, these markers reassure you. When you feel lost, they serve as compass points, pulling you back into alignment. What you are walking through now is not confusion, it is choreography. Heaven has mapped your tomorrow with a care far deeper than you imagine. The prophet Habakkuk was commanded to record this truth, as it is written in the book of Habakkuk, chapter 2, verse 2. Write the vision, make it plain on tablets, so he may run who reads it. These words are your instruction. What God is unfolding in your life is not meant to stay hidden as mist in your heart. It must be made clear, plain enough for you to run with. The vision of your future is not vague inspiration. It is a map, and you must treat it with reverence. Chosen one. Think of how travelers once relied on the stars. The night sky was not random, it was a chart. Sailors trusted its constellations to guide them across oceans. In the same way, God sets stars in your sky. They may appear as dreams, confirmations, scriptures that burn in your spirit, or encounters that feel too precise to be coincidence. These are not random, they are coordinates. Ignore them, and you drift. Follow them, and you arrive. Perhaps you have already seen some of these markers. Have you noticed how certain seasons repeat until you finally obey? Have you sensed moments of déjà vu where life seemed to circle back, offering another chance to choose rightly? These are prophetic reminders. God is patient, but He is also purposeful. He will bring you to the same crossroads again until you learn to walk in alignment with His map. Yet prophetic vision is not always grand. Sometimes it hides in ordinary things: a word from a stranger, a dream that lingers, a verse that refuses to leave your mind. Treat these moments as sacred. Write them down. Pray over them. Build your map with care. For when storms come, the map will be your anchor. Beloved, your future is not a gamble. Heaven has woven it with such detail that even detours become part of the design. Joseph's pit was not a mistake. It was a marker leading him to Egypt. Ruth's gleaning in fields was not chance. It was a marker guiding her to Boaz. Paul's shipwreck was not disaster. It was a marker steering him to new shores. Every twist you endure is still aligned with the map of God. But here is the danger. Many ignore their map. They move blindly, chasing comfort, chasing applause, chasing opportunities that glitter but do not glow with heaven's light. Without a map, they wander. Without vision, they perish. But you, chosen one, have been entrusted with sight. You cannot afford to close your eyes. This is why I ask you now to mark this moment with a prophetic act. Type the number 555 below. Let it be more than digits. It is a declaration. By writing 555, you are saying, I choose to follow the map. I align myself with the vision. I will not wander aimlessly. I will walk with precision. This number is your symbol of alignment, your public agreement that you will not live by accident but by design. Do not dismiss this act as small. Every prophetic act is like a pin driven into the ground. It marks territory. By declaring 555, you are planting your feet firmly on the path of destiny, refusing to drift, refusing to delay. You are telling heaven and earth, I will not waste my markers. I will follow until I arrive. Chosen one. Your map is unfolding, even now. The dreams you've had, the confirmations you've received, the stirring you feel, these are not noise. They are coordinates. Every step of obedience places you closer to the place heaven has marked with your name. Trust the map. Follow it. And remember, the God who wrote it walks with you along the road. Lift your eyes to the horizon. The next marker is closer than you think. Keep moving forward, for the vision is waiting to speak at its appointed time. Chosen one, no one carries a mantle alone. The path of destiny may be personal, but it is never solitary. From the beginning, God has woven his chosen ones into tribes, communities, and fellowships, not because you are weak, but because your calling is too weighty to bear in isolation. Even the strongest warrior falters when fighting without allies. Even the brightest flame can flicker when cut off from the fire of others. The book of Proverbs gives us this wisdom, as it is written in the book of Proverbs, chapter 27, verse 17. As iron sharpens iron, so one person sharpens another. Yet, community is not always comfortable. To be sharpened means sparks will fly. The people God places around you may challenge you, expose your blind spots, or confront habits you tried to ignore. At times, their presence may feel like friction, but that friction is holy. It is the sound of edges being refined, of dullness turning sharp. Without it, your gift would remain blunt. With it, you become a weapon ready for battle. Consider Moses and Joshua. Moses carried the staff, but Joshua carried the sword. Neither was complete without the other. Consider David and Jonathan. Jonathan's loyalty preserved David's life, even when the throne was at stake. Consider Paul and Timothy. Paul's wisdom became Timothy's foundation, and Timothy's zeal extended Paul's legacy. Every chosen one carries a mantle, but the mantle finds strength in community. Beloved, your tribe will not always look like you expect. Sometimes it will include the unlikely, those you would never have chosen for yourself. Fishermen and tax collectors stood side by side as disciples, prophets and kings, widows and warriors, strangers and friends, all were woven together into divine alliances. God chooses your tribe not based on your preferences but on His purpose. Do not resist it when He brings unexpected allies into your path. At the same time, community will test you. Loyalty is not proven in comfort, but in conflict. There will be moments when those around you fail, misunderstand, or even wound you. These moments are not meant to break the bond, but to refine it. Forgiveness becomes the oil that keeps the tribe moving forward. Patience becomes the shield that covers weakness. Humility becomes the glue that holds the mantle together. Without these, even the strongest alliances fracture. Do not confuse testing with abandonment. Sometimes God allows tension within community to reveal the true depth of your loyalty. Will you walk away at the first sign of friction? Or will you press deeper? Allowing the sharpening process to continue. Remember, iron sharpens iron through pressure, not ease. A covenant community is forged in trial, not in comfort. Chosen one, your destiny is too vast for solitary achievement. You may carry the vision, but others will carry parts of the provision. You may bear the word, but others will bear the weight of intercession. You may walk with authority, but others will guard you with accountability. Alone, you are a flame. Together, you are a firestorm. Alone, you are a soldier. Together, you are an army. And understand this, the enemy fears not just the individual chosen one, but the tribe of chosen ones standing united. A single flame he can try to smother. A single voice he can try to silence. But a community ablaze with unity becomes unstoppable. This is why he seeks to sow division, offense, and isolation. Resist it. Guard your tribe fiercely. Do not let petty wounds or whispered lies fracture what heaven has built. You will know your true community, not by flattery, but by fruit. They are the ones who pray when you are weary, who correct when you stray, who celebrate when you rise, and who weep when you fall. They are not perfect, but they are covenant. They stand not because of convenience, but because of calling. Treasure them, invest in them, honor them, for without them, your mantle cannot be carried to its fullness. Beloved, the journey ahead will demand more than your strength alone. It will demand a tribe, a community forged in fire and bound in loyalty. Do not fear the sharpening. Do not despise the testing. Embrace the ones God has sent to stand beside you, even when sparks fly, for together you will rise, stronger, sharper, and more unshakable than you ever could alone. Chosen one. The journey of faith is not only about waiting for the ultimate victory, it is about recognizing the signal victories along the way. These are the moments that may look small to the world, but thunder loudly in heaven. They are glimpses of promise, foretastes of glory, reminders that God is moving even when the battle is not yet complete. To ignore them is to miss the evidence of His hand. To honor them is to gather courage for the greater wars still to come. Think of David in the fields. Before he faced Goliath, he faced the lion and the bear. Those victories may have seemed insignificant compared to the giant, but they were signals. They were reminders that God, who delivered him in secret, would deliver him in public. Every chosen one experiences such signals. They come as breakthroughs in places you least expect. A prayer answered, a door opening, a temptation resisted, a burden lifted. Each is a signpost pointing forward. You are on the right path, and heaven is still at work. We find this assurance in the writings of Paul, as it is written in the first letter to the Corinthians, chapter 15, verse 57. Thanks be to God, He gives us the victory through our Lord Jesus Christ. Beloved, you must learn to see signal victories for what they are. Too often, the chosen ones overlook them, despising the day of small beginnings. They wait for the crown and dismiss the small confirmations along the road. Yet these signals are vital. They are the manna in the wilderness, sustenance for the long journey. Without them, discouragement grows heavy. With them, faith grows strong. Consider Elijah on Mount Carmel. The drought had lasted years, and the heavens remained shut. Yet after prayer, he sent his servant to look toward the sea. 6 times the servant saw nothing, but on the 7th, he saw a cloud the size of a man's hand. To others, it may have seemed insignificant, but to Elijah, it was the signal of rain. He did not wait for the sky to darken before declaring victory. The small sign was enough to stir faith that abundance was coming. So it is with you. Perhaps you have seen only a cloud the size of a hand, one answered prayer, one unexpected encouragement, one shift in the atmosphere. Do not dismiss it. Do not say, it is too small. Celebrate it. It is a signal that the drought is ending, that the breakthrough is near, that heaven has already begun to move. Signal victories also train your stewardship. How you handle the small victories determines how you will handle the great ones. If you neglect to honor the little, you may not be entrusted with the larger. Gratitude in small victories builds capacity for greater responsibility. If you rejoice when the seed sprouts, you will have strength to harvest when the field is full. Beloved, understand this. Victory is not always loud. Sometimes it is quiet, hidden, overlooked by the world, but heaven counts it. Each time you resist temptation, that is victory. Each time you choose forgiveness instead of bitterness, that is victory. Each time you pray when you feel weary, that is victory. Each time you rise from the ground after falling, that is victory. These moments may not make headlines, but they shake the foundations of darkness. Do not let discouragement blind you to the victories already won. Look back and see how far you have come. Look at the battles you once thought would destroy you, but now you stand stronger because of them. Look at the prayers you thought were ignored, but today you walk in the answers. Your life is already filled with signal victories, proofs that God is faithful, and assurances that the final victory is certain. Chosen one, lift your eyes. The giant may still stand, but the sling is in your hand, and the lion and the bear are behind you. The storm may still rage, but the cloud has already appeared on the horizon. The full harvest may not yet be gathered, but the first fruits are already ripening. Signal victories are heaven's way of saying, do not quit now. The promise is real. The crown is near. Treasure them, celebrate them, and let them fuel your perseverance. For the same God who gives you signal victories today will lead you into complete triumph tomorrow. Chosen one. Every harvest requires a plan. Crops do not gather themselves. Battles are not won by chance. And destinies do not unfold without strategy. Heaven has already declared your inheritance. But now you must learn how to gather it. This is the season of battle for your harvest. The moment where scattered promises are collected and lost years are redeemed. Yet this harvest will not come through passivity. It requires action, discernment, and partnership with God's plan. The words of Jesus remind us of the urgency, as it is written in the Gospel of Matthew, chapter 9, verse 37. The harvest is plentiful, but the workers are few. These words are not merely about fields of grain, they are about lives, callings, and eternal assignments. The harvest of your destiny is plentiful. It overflows with opportunities, breakthroughs, and victories. But the question remains, will you rise as a worker, or will you allow the field to wither while you wait? Beloved, a harvest is both a blessing and a burden. The blessing is the abundance, the fruit of prayers, the answers to long nights of waiting, the evidence of God's faithfulness. The burden is the responsibility. It must be gathered, stewarded, and protected. A ripe harvest left unattended will spoil. In the same way, promises unattended can slip away. That is why God is giving you not just blessing, but also a battle plan. Picture a farmer at dawn. He does not simply rejoice that the fields are full. He sharpens his tools, rallies his workers, and prepares for long hours of labor. In the same way, you are being called to sharpen your tools of prayer, rally your community, and prepare your spirit for the labor of gathering what heaven has prepared. This is not the time for distraction. This is not the hour for delay. It is the moment to focus, to work, to gather. And just as in farming, your part may feel small, but it is crucial. One worker gathers one sheaf at a time, yet together they fill the barns. In the same way, your actions, liking, sharing, subscribing, even sowing financially become part of the gathering. They are not trivial clicks or coins. They are acts of tending the harvest. When you share, you scatter seed into fields you cannot reach. When you subscribe, you return to tend the soil again and again. When you give, you water the ground so that fruit can multiply. Imagine this space as a field at sunrise. Each like is a footprint in the soil, proof that you are present in the work. Each share is like casting seed to distant winds, letting it take root in hearts you may never meet. Each donation is like placing tools in the hands of laborers, ensuring the harvest is not lost for lack of strength. None of it is wasted. Every act, no matter how small, is a stroke of the sickle in the great field of God's purpose. But hear this clearly. The enemy seeks to steal the harvest. He prowls like a thief at night, hoping to scatter what has been gathered, to rot what has ripened. This is why your battle plan must include vigilance. Prayer guards the field. Worship strengthens the workers. Unity protects the barns. Without these, abundance can become loss. But with them, the harvest not only remains secure, it multiplies. Chosen one. You must also learn to celebrate as you gather. Do not wait for the barns to overflow before lifting your voice in gratitude. every sheaf you bring in, every small answer to prayer, every testimony of breakthrough is worthy of thanksgiving. Gratitude keeps your heart pure in the midst of abundance. It reminds you that the harvest is not by your strength, but by God's hand. Now I ask you to take part in this work tangibly. Do not only listen, respond. Comment these words below. I gather now. Let it be your declaration, your alignment with the labor of harvest. By writing it, you step into the role of a worker, not a bystander. You declare that you will not watch fields ripen and then waste away. You will gather, you will labor, you will steward what has been entrusted to you. And as you comment, as you engage, as you sow, remember this: you are part of something larger than yourself. This is not only your harvest, it is a collective one. Your engagement strengthens others. Your generosity fuels the mission. Your presence testifies that the workers are not few, but many. Together, the barns will be filled. Together, the field will rejoice. Together, the harvest will be secured. Beloved chosen one, sharpen your sickle, tend your altar, step into the field, for the harvest is plentiful, and you have been chosen to gather it. Chosen one, the journey has led you through silence and storms, through delay and refining, through battles and breakthroughs. But now, a holy moment unfolds before you, the crowning. It is not the applause of men, nor the shallow rewards of this world. It is the visible sign that heaven has acknowledged your endurance, your surrender, your perseverance through fire. The crown is not just an ornament, it is identity revealed, authority affirmed, destiny sealed. The Apostle Paul once spoke of this holy reward, as it is written in the second letter to Timothy, chapter 4, verse 8. Henceforth there is laid up for me the crown of righteousness. Notice the language, not there might be, but there is. The crown is certain for those who endure, for those who keep the faith, for those who refuse to abandon their post, even when every force of darkness pressed against them. The crowning moment is both reward and responsibility. It signifies that you have graduated from testing into reigning, from learning into leading, from carrying weight into wearing glory. Crowns in heaven's kingdom are not handed lightly. They are entrusted to those who have proven that their hearts can carry them without arrogance. Your battles were never only about survival, they were about preparation for the crown. Think of David. He was anointed as a shepherd boy, yet he endured years of hiding in caves, fleeing from Saul, battling enemies, before he finally wore the crown of Israel. The anointing marked him early, but the crowning required a process. So it is with you. The calling came long ago. The oil has already touched your head, but the crown comes only after the valleys, the wilderness, the refining fires. And now, the time draws near. Beloved, do not picture the crown merely as gold or jewels. In heaven's eyes, crowns are woven from obedience, humility, and love. Every tear you cried in silence became a gem. Every act of faith, when no one applauded, became gold. Every sacrifice, unseen by men, became part of its weight. What you endured was not forgotten, it was stored, gathered, and now it rests upon your head as testimony. The crowning moment is also a public declaration. Heaven declares before principalities and powers, this one endured, this one is faithful. This one cannot be broken. The crown speaks louder than words. It tells darkness that its schemes failed. It tells generations that faithfulness is never wasted. It tells your own heart that your labor was not in vain. But hear this clearly: the crown is not the end. It is the beginning of new assignments. For with greater honor comes greater responsibility. To wear the crown is to carry a mantle for others, to shine light, not only for your path but for theirs. It is to intercede, to lead, to protect, to serve. The crown is not a chair for comfort, it is a mantle for action. Chosen one. In your crowning moment, you may feel both awe and trembling. This is holy. Every true crown carries both weight and wonder. You will feel joy because the promises have been fulfilled, but you will also feel the gravity of what comes next. Do not resist this weight. It is holy. Do not shrink back from it. It is your destiny. And know this: crowns can never be manufactured by men. They cannot be purchased. They cannot be faked. They cannot be earned by performance. Only God places them. People may try to crown themselves with titles, recognition, or applause, but these fade like dust. The true crown endures because it is forged in eternity. Think of it like the sunrise. The darkest night cannot stop it. The longest delay cannot hinder it. The loudest enemy cannot silence it. When the hour comes, the sun rises, and the crown is placed. You cannot force it early, but neither can anyone rob it from you. The crown is reserved with your name, waiting for the fullness of time. So, beloved, stand tall. You are no longer the one wandering in confusion. You are no longer the one crushed under shame. You are no longer merely the one tested. You are the one crowned. And though the crown rests on your head, never forget where it came from. Lay it back at the feet of the one who gave it. For every crown received here is ultimately meant to glorify him. Chosen one. The crowning moment is not fantasy. It is reality written into your future. Heaven has prepared it. Angels witness it. Eternity awaits it. Endure a little longer. Walk faithfully a little further. Hold your flame a little higher, for soon the weight of glory will rest upon your head, and all creation will know you are crowned. You are chosen. You are his. Chosen one. The crown has been placed. The trials have been endured. The seasons of waiting have turned into fulfillment. Yet the story does not end here. The aftermath of crowning is not simply rest, but redirection. Once you wear the crown, heaven entrusts you with assignments that reach further than your personal journey. You are no longer only a survivor, no longer only a seeker. You are now a carrier of mantle, a torchbearer for others, a signpost for generations to come. This new assignment may not look like the grand stages you imagined. Often, it begins in quietness. God crowns in the open, but he tests in the secret. The crown gives you authority, but authority must be exercised in humility. Your next pilgrimage is not about proving you are crowned, but about using that crown to serve, to guide, to protect. For crowns in heaven's kingdom are never self-centered. They are always others-centered. The prophet Isaiah declared the nature of this holy newness, as it is written in the book of Isaiah, chapter 43, verse 19. Behold, I am doing a new thing. Now it springs forth. Do you not perceive it? Consider how the lives of the chosen shifted after their crowning. David, once crowned, could no longer return to shepherds' fields. He had to carry the burden of a nation. Esther, once crowned, could no longer hide in the palace. She had to risk her life to intercede for her people. Paul, once entrusted with revelation, could no longer remain silent. He had to travel, write, endure suffering to release the gospel. Each crown opened a new assignment, a weightier one than before. So it is with you, beloved. Do not imagine that the crown means the battles cease. In many ways, it means the battles intensify. Darkness despises a crowned one because authority cannot be ignored. But unlike before, you do not fight as a hidden warrior. You fight as one marked with glory. Your voice carries more weight. Your presence disturbs more darkness. Your obedience shifts more atmospheres. This is the burden and the privilege of the crowned. And yet, the aftermath is not only struggle, it is also profound joy. For the crown means you have entered into a deeper intimacy with the one who called you. You walk with a surer step. You speak with greater clarity. You see with sharper eyes. The wandering of past seasons has given way to alignment. You are no longer searching for purpose. You are living it. This joy is not shallow happiness. It is the deep, unshakable delight of walking in sync with heaven's heartbeat. Still, the path ahead demands vigilance. The crown can be heavy if you forget who placed it on your head. Pride can creep in if you forget who you are called to serve. Selfishness can distort its purpose. Guard your heart. Chosen one, remember that the true glory of the crown is not in wearing it, but in laying it down daily, offering it back to the feet of the King. For you are not the source of your authority, you are the steward of it. The aftermath also means multiplication. Your story is no longer yours alone, it becomes seed for others. The victories you carry ignite faith in those who feel weak. The scars you bear give courage to those who are still in the fire. The wisdom you gained becomes a map for those who are lost. In this way, your new assignment is not simply to live crowned, but to help others reach their crowning moment too. Chosen one, step carefully but confidently. The path before you is higher than the one behind you. The assignments may be quieter, but they carry greater weight. They may require more surrender, but they will also reveal greater glory. You are now a builder of others, a guardian of the sacred, a carrier of legacy. This is the aftermath of crowning, not an end, but a beginning. So lift your head, not in pride, but in gratitude. Wear the crown not as a trophy, but as a tool. And let every step from this day forward declare, I am chosen, I am crowned, and I am sent into new assignments that stretch beyond myself. For the story does not close here, it only expands. Chosen one, you have walked through the full journey, the awakening, the wounds, the call, the delay, the refining, the victories, the battle, the crown, and now the aftermath. Each step has been marked not by chance, but by divine choreography. Heaven itself has been witness to your rising, to your tears, to your endurance. Do not forget this truth. You are not ordinary. You are set apart, called, and marked for such a time as this. The storms you endured were not wasted. They became training grounds. The silence you carried was not abandonment. It was preparation. The victories you tasted were not small. They were signals of the greater harvest yet to come. And the crown you wear now is not the conclusion, it is the confirmation that your story is eternal. Walk forward into this new chapter with confidence. Let humility guard your steps and gratitude fuel your journey. Let your scars remind you of your strength and your crown remind you of your responsibility. You are not finished, you are only beginning. Chosen one. Heaven rejoices over you. The earth waits for your light, and eternity has already written your name into its story. Carry this truth always. You are chosen. You are crowned. And you are unstoppable in the hands of the one who called you.